What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Man Cave Podcast. Before we start this episode, I would just like to thank our sponsor, BetterHelp. Is something preventing you from achieving your goals? Well, I personally always have a hard time working towards my dreams when I'm not in the right mental state. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. Connect in a safe and private online environment that's convenient for you. Start communicating with your therapist within 48 hours of signing up. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. You can send a message to your counselor at any time. You'll get thoughtful and timely responses. You can also schedule weekly video or phone sessions. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor at betterhelp.com/mancave. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's betterhelp, HELP.com/mancave. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Man Cave Podcast. I am here today with one of my favorite musicians, the legend, David Morris. How you doing, brother?
My man, I'm good. Thank you for the intro.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a fan of yours as well, obviously.
Hell yeah, dude.
Been following you for quite some time. You know, you and my buddy Jacob Owens.
Okay.
My buddy Futuristic.
Yeah, it's all intertwined.
All intertwined. It's a perfect synergy right
Yeah, man. It's good to have you here on the Man Cave Podcast. Before you even came here, and you kind of said the same thing. As soon as you sat down, I'm like, bro, this looks like this set was built for you.
It does.
It looks like, I mean, this could potentially be your next album cover.
You know, yeah, we can make
We'll have to snap.
we can make album cover of like us sitting here and then just put the parental advisory logo on it.
Boom.
Fire.
Game over.
No, I like it. I don't know if you guys can't see this here, but he has the Man Cave is immaculate, guys. I mean, this is
Immaculate.
When you say Man Cave and you think of like what would the dream Man Cave be like? It's I mean, there's taxidermy, there's fishing, there's beer, there's NASCAR, there's NFL, there's baseball. I mean, everything, man.
Yep.
You got it going on.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. So you're out here for, you said, a bachelor party?
I'm out here. My buddy Yates, Michael
Okay.
Yates, my guy. He's getting married, and so we came out here for like 4 or 5 days, play
Nice.
some golf. I'm trying to get good in my golf game.
There you go.
You know, in the music industry, everybody's like, "Hey, you know, let's go."
Really? In the music industry?
That's
That's surprising.
managers, agents, artists, writers is a big thing, especially in Nashville. Everybody golfs,
Really?
and so yeah, I'm pretty trash, but I'm gonna get there. You know, I
Hey,
feel like I'm
with practice.
with practice. It's funny because golf is the one sport where it's not just how athletic you are.
Yeah,
or
it
like how-
literally doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, it's a game of skill, a game of patience, and I have nothing but respect for all the golfers out there because, yeah, like I said,
I don't have either of those.
It hasn't clicked yet. Yeah, exactly. So we're working on it, but
There you go, man.
yeah, man.
Well, it's funny because we met, what was it, 6 months ago?
About 6 months ago, yeah.
When Zach got married. So Futuristic, we met at Futuristic's wedding, and I still remember it. Hopefully you're not offended because I had no idea who you were.
Yeah, that's fine.
And you were sitting in front of me, and I remember it like it was yesterday because you had that look to you. I'm like, oh, this guy's got to be somebody. You know, you got the black slick back hair, the clean cut beard. I'm like, this guy's got to be famous for something, especially if he's at Zach's wedding. You just turn around, you look at me, and you go, I feel like we look like international drug dealers.
we did.
We
bro.
did. We did.
Okay, so set the picture. It was a beautiful Arizona day, which is like 100 degrees.
Yep.
You have
Beautiful
you
Arizona
have the
day.
nice suit on. You're wearing the nice Italian,
Italian sunglasses.
You had the shirt,
The
kinda
Hugo
unbuttoned.
Boss suit.
Yeah, a little unbuttoned. I'm in the suit, and then
There's someone next to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sam, my buddy Sam,
Okay.
Sam King, SK.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
And so he has the shirt open, the dreadlocks hanging, and I
Yep.
look at us and I was like, we look like a movie cast. We look like drug dealers or something, like
Yeah.
from the Colombian cartel.
And then you said, you started naming off, you're like, specifically, I remember you said to me, you said I looked like a Bolivian drug dealer.
I don't know where I got
And
that
you know
from.
what?
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I took it as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, you were looking snazzy, my man. You were looking real good. With just as far as like, I was like, Big Doss. Because
Yep.
I know how close you and Zach were or are, and I had known going to the wedding that I was going to see people that I hadn't run into for a long time, and we had actually never met.
No.
Which, but I felt like I knew you already because it's like I said, a big circle of just cool people. So, but yeah, man, it was a good day. It was a great day. So shout out to Zach.
No, that was awesome. And then, so I don't know if it was either Zach or if it was Jacob who put me on to you. But like, you know, I think Jacob was telling me about you at the wedding and told me to look you up, and I looked up your music, and the first video that I saw, dude, it was like my jaw dropped. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this guy's incredible. It's like, how the hell do I not know about him? I was just impressed because I feel like the music that you make is unlike anything I've ever heard. I feel like it's like, you know, country and rap fucked and had a baby. It would be you.
I'll take it, man. I'll take it. It's like Travis Scott meets Travis Tritt. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh,
Like
I
a
like
nice
that.
blend. Yeah, man. It's like, you know, I've known Futuristic and my guy Jake for years and years, and I came up and I was releasing music as DY.
I was going to ask you about that because I was looking at all your stuff, and so like I said, I didn't know who you were, and I was telling my friends, like after I listened, I probably listened to every single one of your songs, or at least every one that has a music video, and your videos are incredible, by the way.
Thank you.
But after I listened to it, I was telling all of my friends, everybody at work. I was playing your music videos at work. I was showing all my friends, and they all knew you, but they knew you as DY and not David Morris. So I was like, I feel betrayed. Who the fuck is DY? Yeah. So who is DY?
So well, DY is me. I am DY.
You are
but
DY.
See, the situation is, man, is like when you start making music or creating content at a young age, you kind of just dive in head first. You know, you make music, and I was DY, and I started making music when I was like 17.
Wow.
College dorm room, and just releasing music. And Jacob Owens, if you guys don't know who Jake is an amazing video director, entrepreneur, really just awesome dude.
He's been on the show.
Oh, great. Yeah. So you guys are familiar. So he hit me up like way back when and was like, yo, man, I could shoot videos for you way better than whoever's shooting them for cheaper.
So this is just random over the internet.
This is random over the internet. This is like maybe like 2012 or something.
And so I want me backtrack a little bit. So you grew up in South West Virginia, correct?
Yeah, in Southern West Virginia, in Charleston, yeah.
And so where were you going to college at this point?
West Virginia University.
No way.
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so sorry to
it's your
steer off
podcast.
here a little
Yeah,
bit,
it's your podcast,
but
man.
I filmed at, I want to say it's just recently surpassed 80 different universities. And West Virginia.
You stay busy, man.
Yeah, I do. West Virginia State. Is it West Virginia State?
There's West Virginia State, and then there's West Virginia University. So, like, State is down where I grew up near Charleston. And
West Virginia University
is in Morgantown.
Morgantown.
Yeah, like near Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Top 3 universities that I've ever been to. If I could go to any university tomorrow, that's where I would go.
Man.
Out of 80 schools.
We could circle back if you want to West Virginia University stories, because there's a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, a great school, big party school.
Love it.
Big party school. And so yeah, we can circle back. But to continue the thought, basically, so I linked with Jake, and I was making music as DY, and I released music for a while, and I toured with Futuristic, and it got to a point around like 2014. I was just a little bit uninspired, and I felt like I was like trying a little too hard to.
So how long had you been doing it at that point?
At that point, I've been making music in 2014 for like, I would say like 5 years.
And you were well known as DY. Like you had built a full on career.
Yeah,
you had, correct me if I'm wrong, but you toured with successful artists. I saw you toured with Kyle.
Yeah, we did. So Kyle and I've done some shows, Futuristic, Mike Stud.
Okay. I saw in one of your music videos, Kyle, you and Kyle were on a tour bus or something.
Yeah. That's my guy. And then just a bunch of different artists. And I opened for Kendrick in Morgantown.
That's huge.
Kendrick Lamar is like, dude, come on. Like,
that's
one of the
guys. That's insane.
So anyways, I had like a fair amount of success, and I was all independent. But it got to a point where, like I said, I was so young, and I dove in head first. And I was like, I'm DY is my rap name, and I'm a rapper. And I just kind of outgrew it, man. And it got to about 2014, and I was like, yo, I need to reassess what I'm doing with my career and where it's going and stuff. And I feel like being a kid from West Virginia, the only thing I wanted to do is get out of West Virginia. You know, like I grew up in Charleston. There's nothing going on there. And you're like, all right, I'm gonna go away to college. And then I was like, I'm gonna move to New York. I'm gonna move to LA. Like, I'm getting out of here. And I had been running from West Virginia for so long because there's nothing there. I mean, it's like a black hole, you know? It's just a lot of drug addiction and things like that, where, you know, a lot of a whole nother storyline we can go into, but there's not a lot when you come from a small town. There's not a lot of room for growth. And so I was like, man, like, I need to get out. I need to get away from West Virginia. And basically dove into music head first. And then I realized, around 2014, I was like, man, like something's missing. And after taking about a year off of just like making music, not releasing any music, and I was just like, yo, like I need to rebrand. I need to just be me, David Morris, and I need to embrace where I'm from. I need to tell my story. Like me being from West Virginia, me growing up in a small town, like that's what makes me who I am.
Right.
And that's special, and people can relate to that. And so that's where the pivot came in, is where I was like, you know what, if I can tell stories and if I can rap and have lyrics that can relate to people, and just talking about where I'm from, then that's the big win, right? Is being the truest form of a person, an artist. And so, yeah, that's where it is. And I've always played guitar and been a songwriter. And so now I'm at a place where I feel like weave everything together. I can weave the rap, I can weave the country, some folk, some pop, and just make music that I want to make, man. So
that's awesome. So you would say that David Morris is almost like the true form of yourself.
Yeah.
Would you say that DY was almost like somewhat of a character that you had built?
Yeah, somewhat. But the way I like to describe it is it's like when you're young and you're in a relationship and it's like a really, really like, you know, like you're young and you're in a relationship with a girl and it's like, man, she was like, that was wild, dude. Like I learned a lot. She was a little crazy. She was a little wild, but she's not the one, you know? And I feel like now I found the one.
So it's just like a phase in your life.
It's just a phase. It's just a stepping stone, a chapter. We all go through it. We all figure it out. And I think as artists, we do it a little more publicly, you know, or maybe as a content creator, you do it a little more publicly, and people might have a little judgment or might be a little confused. But at the end of the day, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, and you always just realize, like, you know, I could never have been the David Morris I am now if I hadn't have gone through that chapter.
Right.
And so it's just important to, you know, if you're an artist or a content creator or even a person, like, it's okay to grow. People are like, oh, you changed. It's like, I just grew. I just evolved into who I am, you know? And it's like
everybody changes at some point.
But that's important, right? Hopefully they change.
Change is growth.
Yeah, hopefully you grow for the better and change. And that's, I think, the big lesson here that I take away from my story thus far is like, hey, it's okay to like not have it figured out and to like constantly be pushing yourself to get there.
Yeah, and I can kind of relate because, you know, Kansas is, you know, I wouldn't say I'm from a small town. It's more suburb, but it was a mixture between, you know, country and city. So I experienced a little bit of both. Yeah. And it was a small enough town to where, you know, everybody knows each other. Yeah. And, you know, I went through a lot of phases. I guess I could relate it to, you know, DY or David Morris, like where I'm just trying to find myself. Yeah. And through a lot of that, I noticed that people, especially when you're from a smaller town, they're more likely to judge you with every change that you make in your life. And for me, it was like scary. I remember going to school, like getting a different hairstyle, being terrified of going to school and being judged for it, or making, you know, the smallest changes that like now I would not care at all. But that was something that I realized was such a big pivotal point in my life is when I got away from all that. I moved out here to Arizona and I saw it as a chance to rebuild myself, rebrand myself, and be who I truly am. Yeah. So it makes a huge difference giving yourself that opportunity.
Absolutely. Like that's the main thing, right? And it's like, I feel like so many times people don't give themselves that room to grow. You know, they'll go to school, they'll graduate, they'll jump right into a 9-to-5 or a job out of necessity or out of like needing that comfort. And we all have our own story, right? But it's like, you know, I feel like a lot of people don't give themselves that room to live up to their potential or their growth. And it's like, it's always I always tell, like, I have so many friends who want to move from West Virginia out to LA or to Nashville. And they're always asking me about it. And they're like, oh man, like, what's it like out there and this and that? I'm like, listen, all I'm going to say to you is this. If you have an interest in doing it or in doing something, do it. Because guess what? The worst case scenario is you're back where you are right now. Mm-hmm. And where you are right now is cool. It's comfortable. It's fine. It's great. You know, you're in your hometown or something. That's awesome. But it's like, just give yourself a chance. And like, that's what's awesome. And I feel like being able to do that and being able to like make the music that relates back to like that 17-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid who I thought my life like sucked. I thought I was like so bored and like all this, like, you know, you realize like when you're looking back, you're like, man, that wasn't so bad.
That was a great time in life right there.
Why was I running from all this? This is fun, you know? And the older you get, you realize that like the simple things in life like that are important. You know, once you've had a shot to like, you know, go out and move from Kansas and be in Arizona and do all that, you're like, oh man, like there's something special about that.
There definitely is. Did you ever have a plan B?
Never.
That's one thing that is kind of relating to what you were saying. You know, people asking you, you know, should I take this leap of faith? Should I do what I want to do? And the thing that I think is one of the biggest problems in our society is everyone is putting their plan B first.
Yeah.
Have you realized that?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to college, you know, to make their parents happy because they say you need to have a backup plan or, you know, whatever it might be. Everyone, not everyone, 95% of people in the world, they put their plan B over their plan A in case plan A doesn't work. Do you realize how backwards that is?
It's so they always say like one of my favorite quotes is like plan B is reinforced plan A, you know? And like, and it's funny because you and my buddy Sean, who are here in the studio, we're just talking about how you guys dropped out of school. You know, I took the other route where I graduated school and then I moved and then I continued, like I moved to New York and I continued my education. I got a degree in PR from West Virginia, public relations. And then my parents were basically like, hey, you're great. You did great in undergrad. Like you had scholarships, like everything was great. Like I was fortunate enough, West Virginia, I think they just ended it. They had a thing called the Promise Scholarship where if you were like a B student, just like B average, you got free tuition.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was great. So I had that. And then they were always like, hey, love that you want to do music, but can like continue your education just to have it to like fall back on. Like they wanted me to do that. And out of respect and love for them. And, you know, I got a master's degree in marketing.
Wow.
And so like that was cool, right? I'm 23 years old. I'm in New York working on music. I'm like doing online stuff from West Virginia University, has integrated marketing communications program. It's like master's in marketing. And that's cool. And I'm like doing it. I'm like hating it, but I'm like doing that. And then I'm like recording like at night. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I know this is a waste of my time. Like,
that's the most painful thing ever too.
And it sucked. And it's like, you know, having an education is important. I'm all for that. I'm all for being educated. But we could talk hours and hours about how the culture is changing and society is changing and how you can learn so much on your own these days and how kids are getting so much smarter on their own. And, you know, I have, you know, like back to our buddy Jacob Owens, you know, like he went to film school. He paid a lot of money to go to film school, I assume, but he didn't need film school.
And his film teacher said that he wouldn't amount to anything.
And it's like, yo, if you know what you want to do, like go for it. And it's like school will be there. And I'm not, you know, everybody has their own story, so I'm not gonna tell people like don't go to college, don't go to school. But just seeing you guys be like, oh well, I dropped out because I found what I'm passionate for. Like your plan B was reinforce plan A, and then a plan. If we get to plan C, D, E, F, it's like, all right, well, I mean, I could always go back to school, you know, but you never wavered from that because you had a belief in yourself. And it's important because that's the main thing, right? Is like, hey, if it doesn't work out, there are always going to be other options to do things that you like don't necessarily want to do or aren't excited about. So
one of my favorite quotes is Jim Carrey talks about how his dad could have been a famous comedian, but he decided to take the safe route, become an accountant, provide for his family. After 20 years of having a you know, decently well career as an accountant, he was let go from his job. So he said the reason why he wanted to become a comedian is because he saw through his dad that you can fail at what you don't want to do. So why not try to do what you love?
I know exactly.
Deep.
I know the
deep.
quote you're talking about.
Motivational. You watch motivational speeches?
Yeah,
love them, dude.
I
love them.
And me and my buddy were having a conversation recently about this topic, right? Which is cool because I feel like you can relate to this. So you have billionaires, and you're like, man, I'd love to be a billionaire. And you think about it, and you break it down, and you're like, I don't need $1 billion.
No.
Man, I'd love to be worth hundreds of millions. It's like, I don't really need that. It's like, what do you need? And we come down to things like Mark Cuban and everybody talks about, like the only thing you can't buy is time, right? You can't buy time, you can't buy happiness, you can't buy peace of mind. I know people right now who are worth a lot of money, making a lot of money, and they're miserable. I have friends that are like very well off. And then I have friends that are like starving artists and they love life and they're so happy. And that's why, like, I was talking to my buddy the other day and we were saying, I was like, yo, like my true definition of success is waking up every morning and getting paid to do something that you would do for free. So
I like
think
that.
about that.
I like
Think
that.
about that. The guy down the street owns a real estate empire. He's worth $20 million. If I said, hey there, buddy, would you do what you do for a living but not get paid for it? He'd be like, no. What are you talking
hell
about?
no.
This is what I do.
Right.
But if I said, hey, you're going to wake up tomorrow and you're going to do the Man Cave podcast. Manscaped. You're going to do the Man Cave podcast and you're going to hang out and open Pokemon Michael Jordan cards on YouTube with your friends. You'd be like, yeah, of
course. I would love to do that.
And if somebody was like, hey, Dave, you're going to wake up tomorrow and make music, but you're not going to get paid for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that
way.
for sure. And so that's where I feel the true success is. Because if I make $20 million a year, I'm going to do the same thing as if I make $20,000 a year.
I love that.
And that's so important. I feel like people put a little too much pressure on needing to make the money and like, well, I'm going to take the safe route. I'm going to work at this 9-to-5 corporate job because it's a safe paycheck. But it's like you're waking up every day hating your job. And so it's like, you know, one of those things where it's like we've been fortunate enough to go down a path where it's worked out and we're headed in the right direction. And it's just really cool when you see other people, you know, take that leap, you know? And
Absolutely.
There's nothing better feeling than having a friend call you up and say, hey man, like I'm ready to take that leap. And just being supportive. What do you need? How can I help?
Yeah.
You know?
So you went to West Virginia, you graduated. Mm-hmm. You said you moved to New York after West Virginia?
Yeah, I moved to New York like the day we were supposed to graduate. I told you earlier, man, I ran from West Virginia. I was like, I'm going to get out of here, man.
Really?
And I literally, the day they were walking to graduation, I was moving into an apartment in New York. And at that time, I thought that where the music industry was. And I didn't know any better. I'm a kid from West Virginia. I'm like, yeah, New York's where it's at.
Yeah, because it's the closest major city to you.
And so I moved in with a couple buddies and I came up West Virginia. I was recording in ID Labs in Pittsburgh.
That's where Mac.
That's where Mac and Wiz, you know, where they came up.
Did you ever cross paths with them?
I did, yeah. Both really great dudes. And that's why I was like, I saw what they were doing and I was like, it's like an hour from me. So I went up there and worked in the studio with those guys and like, with people who work with them.
Rex Aero Films, is he up there?
Rex Aero Films, yeah, that was the guy that Jake hit me up. He's like, I can do a video cheaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He was there. The homie E-Dan, who's a legend in Pittsburgh and a legend just in general. He does a lot of Wiz's production and mixes and stuff. I was up there. Mac was like 15 at the time in high school. Still in high school.
That is
rolling up trees, like roll up trees in the studio and just like smoking and like be like, man, I gotta go to prom next week or like talking about graduating and stuff. And I remember being like, this kid's wild. And seeing his grind at Wiz Khalifa.
No way.
I was there in the studio the day that Wiz got his like big 412, his Pittsburgh
on his back
tat.
or is it
a back or chest? I don't know.
Okay.
He had the big tat.
Yeah.
And it was just cool seeing that. Gave me so much motivation.
So you saw that they did that in the studio?
He had just come back from a tattoo shop and and was showing everybody. And I'll run into him randomly and he'll be like, DY, what's up, man? Like just he's still really
still to this day?
To this day.
Wow.
Genuine dude. Genuine guy.
Isn't that crazy how everything comes full circle?
It really is. Man.
He wasn't Wiz Khalifa how he is now back then.
He was mixtape Wiz. He was mixtape Wiz.
Which in my opinion, I mean, Wiz is the one dude who always makes great music. In my opinion, but like mixtape Wiz, you can't beat that.
Incredible.
Can't beat that.
And it was cool to see his rise and to see Mac's rise. And as a kid from West Virginia, being like, all right, well, I like I said, I was trying to get away from West Virginia. I was like, oh, I'm a big Wiz fan, big Mac fan. Their studio. Let me call them up. Let me see if I can go there. Drove an hour after class. Worked on stuff. Came back at 3 a.m. Got up. Went to class at 8 the next morning. You know, like was like grinding. Was like, all right, I graduate. I'm gonna move to New York, and I'm gonna figure this out. Moved to New York, lived there for a few years, and then that took me relationships, met people online and stuff. Took me to LA, and then now this transition to Nashville, which is where my current team is based. It's just been a journey, man. But it's always been just like, I have no clue what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm just trying.
That's
to
the
figure
best
it out.
part.
I just know if I keep going, it's gonna work out. And so now,
now we're here.
Now we're here, man.
So did Mac's passing really affect you? Because for me, he's always been my number one just entertainer, artist. Always looked up to him, and I mean, it affected me when he passed away, and I'd never even met him.
Yeah. So I've never told this story before, but so obviously it hit me hard. I didn't know Mac, like I didn't have his number like to text him.
Right.
But my guy Sean, who's here, he connected me with my DJ E-Train, and he also booked Mac on his first run of shows and connected him with his DJ Clockwork, which is one of our other good friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, like I said, I was recording in ID Labs, and Big Germ, who's a producer.
Yeah, I know Big Germ.
Great dude.
Germ.
I just ran into Big Germ like year and a half ago,
Really?
like, in Atlanta randomly, and we were chopping it up just randomly in Atlanta doing
I
something.
mean, I just know him through Max always talking to him in the intro and
yeah,
shit.
he's another great dude, really talented. He's also a skater. He's a dope skater.
Really?
So, yeah. But anyways, so I was just tapped in with those guys, and I moved to New York, and Mac was doing the kids mixtape release.
Wow.
And it was around that time, like Kool-Aid Frozen Pizza and all that stuff. And I think that was a project.
Yeah.
And Big Germ was like, hey, we're coming to New York. Does anybody have a place we can crash? So I hit Germ on Twitter. I was like, hey, bro, like, I got y'all. And he was like, cool. So it was Big Germ. It was Mac. It was his guy Q, Tree J. And like
I know all of them,
two
bro.
of their other friends. Bro, they pulled up and crashed on my couch on my floor in Brooklyn.
All of them.
Hung out, hanging out, crashed for like a couple nights. And we're just chilling and stuff. And then throughout the years, like we would meet up with, you know, Clockwork would invite us out to a show in Cincinnati or in LA, and I'd pull up and I'd see Mac, and he'd always be like, D, bro, my guy, bro, I'll never forget when you held us down with that couch in Brooklyn. And I would always be like, bro, like, don't mention it, like, it's all good. But literally throughout the years, like we're talking like 5, 6, 7 years later, he would come up to me, show love, we would chop it up, and he would thank me for that. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, because I'm a fan of his music and a fan of who he was as a person. And just for him to be so genuine every time I see him and thank him for, like, bro, like, you know, when you come up, those relationships and those people who help you out even the smallest way mean a lot, you know. And I know that because, like, you know how it is, like people might know, oh, I don't like his music or something, and then you get to a certain level of success, and then they're like, oh yeah, bro, I love his stuff, you know. But the people who support you from day one, you remember those people. And he would just always show love and was like the coolest dude ever. And his passing, it was more of a moment where you realize that, like, life isn't promised. Like, you never would have thought that would happen. You hear every day about these tragedies and senseless violence and overdoses, and dude, I can't even count on two hands the amount of people who have, like, that I grew up with that have, like, friends and just peers and classmates that have passed away under similar circumstances and stuff. And it's just sad, man. It just makes you want to go twice as hard in whatever you do, and just, like, be present in life and tell the people that are close to you that, you know, that you care about.
And I hear you talking about it in your music a lot too.
Yeah.
You know, what was it like having Mac sleep on your floor though? I mean,
dude,
that's still, I'm still letting that sink in here.
Yeah, man. Honestly, at the time, it was like it was just the homie. It was like the homies, right? Because, like I said, Clockwork's a good friend of ours to this day. We were just FaceTiming him last night, and he was there. They were playing practical jokes on each other and just, like, you know, doing stupid shit. And it was fun, man. It's cool. And I think that, like, any influencer, creator, big person, like, you're friends with them. And, like, I might look at that and be like, dude, that's cool. Like, I watch his stuff, you know, but, like, you're like, oh yeah, he's just the homie. He does what I do. And that's how I feel about someone.
Isn't that crazy? That's how it is with everybody until you meet them.
Yeah. And that's how it is. And so, like, when I meet, you know, an artist, even I'm a big fan, like, I've met some really big artists and had conversations with them, and it's just like, I'm an artist too. Like, they're like peers. They're just, you know, further along in their journey than I am, I guess. But it's weird because I'll get more excited to meet an actor or a creator. But yeah, man, dude, it was just like me. It was just like any of the other homies, you know. It was just like hanging out with Zach and his people, or you know, you and your crew, man. It was just, Mac was a very genuine dude. I listen to his music all the time, man. And it's even, I mean, I'm sure as a fan yourself, it's like, it's a little tough sometimes when you, in a certain mode and you throw on a song, you're just like, man.
Yeah. Just hits different.
Yeah, man.
So how long you been in LA now?
So I've been in LA for, like, I want to say like 7 or 8 years.
Damn,
but the past couple of years I've been spending a lot of time in Nashville. So, like, now,
with your you know, vibe, that's kind of the place to be, you know.
It is. I consider myself a songwriter and a rapper and a country artist. So it's been great because I have a team in Nashville now. I have management in Nashville. So we have a circle of people there, and then obviously I have my crew in LA. And so it's just really cool because I'm able to be in when I'm in LA. We're shooting music videos, we're shooting, studio stuff, we're shooting, we're filming, recording, doing all the above, graphic design. I mean, I have I have a house of like homies. And then when I'm in Nashville, I'm like doing writing sessions with people and taking meetings and just learning more about how the Nashville music industry works. Cause I'm a big fan of country music, big fan of Americana, big fan of like classic rock and roll. And so it's a different world from a New York to
definitely.
LA to a Nashville.
I feel like Nashville's on the come up though. Like it has been the last 10 years, but really the last couple of years, I feel like Nashville has just really been on the come up with tons of people moving there and just like, the whole, everyone's going there. Nash Vegas, it's a big party town now. Vegas, I mean, people love it.
The reason I like Nashville is because it's a perfect blend of West Virginia and LA. It's like you can be in the mix in the downtown Nashville vibe or like on Music Row. It's like bustling, stuff's going on. But you can drive 15 minutes away and be in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee. Yep. Be in a small town, Tennessee, Main Street, 1950s. You're like, whoa, like where am I? And that's what I love. That's what I love. That's what West Virginia is. Like West Virginia is, there's like, I'm from Charleston, very similar to where you kind of were from, where it's like there are suburbs, there are hollers, there's projects, there's, it's a well-rounded place. And I have friends that are from every facet of that. And that's what I like. And so when I'm in LA, it's a little like too city for me. It's a little too industry.
I don't like cool LA. Guy. I mean, I love LA because of what it is, but also just it's like so dirty and just like
man.
Oh,
I see why you like Arizona. Like
it's just like pay attention like the freeways between LA, like the freeways here in Phoenix, beautiful, clean.
Yeah.
LA filled with trash.
Oh yeah.
Smog.
Yeah.
I mean.
But yes, I'm with you, and that's why Nashville's great because it's a blend, and also country music, which I love. So.
Right. Who's your favorite country artist?
I have a lot. Historically, like if we're talking like GOATs all time, like George Strait, Garth, have to be in the conversation. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that's like today, I listen to everything, man. I think there's a lot of great country music going on. You have a lot of guys like, I mean, obviously you have the Chris Stapletons, the Jason Isbells. You have people like Justin Moore, Dustin Lynch, Sam Hunt. I mean, dude, I could go on. Like, I love it all. I love pop country. I love classic country. I love the neo.
Yeah.
And it's just great. And that's why it's cool because I feel like so many kids are like me, and I assume you're the same way. Listen to everything, right? And so if I'm, as a person, listening to everything, then as an artist, shouldn't I take inspiration from all that?
Absolutely.
And just mix it together? And so that's
smart.
And that's where I'm at, man. It's like I'll wake up, I'll listen to a podcast, like a true crime podcast when I'm like driving or something. I'll turn on some like rap stuff when I'm working out. I'll listen to some country music when I'm just chilling, and some oldies rock when I'm cleaning the house or something. It's like, I think that's where the culture is now, is everything is blending together simply because everybody likes all sorts of stuff. And like, that's what's so cool, right? It's like the same kids that like Post Malone love Blink-182. The same kids who love those, are also maybe turning on the new Playboi Carti album, and also maybe like, oh, what's that one song that's like, down in like a back road, like, oh, Sam, I like that guy. I like, it's all coming together in this digital age that we're living in. I love that because that's how I am.
I agree, man. I feel like now more than ever, people are more open to different kinds of music, and they're listening to a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. And here is a word from our sponsor. Thanks to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast. BetterHelp is professional counseling done securely online. If something is interfering with your happiness, BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. Connect in a safe and private online environment that's convenient for you. Soon as you sign up, you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. BetterHelp is committed to making great and therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change your counselor at any time. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling and financially financial aid is also available. The service is available for clients worldwide. Anything you share is confidential, convenient, professional, and affordable. I want you to start living a happier life today. As a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month if you visit our sponsor at betterhelp.com/mancave. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/mancave. So speaking of different genres, what genre would you place yourself in? Because like I said earlier, I feel like you've almost created your own genre, your own niche. So I mean, I know you said you're a rapper, you're a country artist, you're a songwriter.
Yeah.
Do you think there will ever be a point where you make a genre of your own and find your own name for it?
So I think it's more important to just, as an artist, to just build that your identity, right? And that brand equity with the fans to where they know whatever song I'm dropping is going to be good. Just like, oh, Dawes is dropping a new video. We're going to watch it for sure because we know he's funny. We know he's entertaining. We know he's passionate about what he does. Same thing. So like I'm going to drop a song called Beat Up Carhartt, which is going to come out.
I saw that on your Instagram.
It's going to come out Monday. It might be out by the time you guys are hearing
Beat Up you guys will definitely be able to look it up right now.
Yeah.
What, Spotify, right?
Yeah, it's out everywhere.
Spotify, YouTube. It's all David Morris.
Yeah, all David Morris. Beat Up Carhartt.
Morris.
Correct. Yeah, man. And
look it up.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the plug. But yeah, man. So it's like that song, Beat Up Carhartt. It's definitely a rap song, but it's like a little countryness about it, you know. And then,
I mean, Carhartt's in there. It's got to be.
Exactly. And then a couple weeks from now, I'm gonna drop a single called "Come Back," which is more of like a pop country song, you know. But it's like it's still me. You hear it. I'm writing it all. I'm the one that's like directing the visuals, and it's just coming from my brain and my level of taste. And so at the end of the day, I think that as long as I keep doing that and keep making the music me, that it doesn't matter if it gets classified as like hip hop.
Yeah, you're not worried about that. You're just worried about creating.
If somebody wants to call me a rapper, great. Somebody wants to call me a country artist, cool, awesome. As it's like, if you don't like this song, maybe you'll like this song. Maybe you'll tap in and be like, oh, I get what he's doing.
Did you ever find inspiration from like any? I mean, obviously you found inspiration from other artists.
Yeah.
But when you transitioned from DY to David Morris, was there ever like someone that did a little bit of country and a little bit of rap, or were you the first?
No, definitely not the first. There's a lot of other great artists that do country rap that stem back to like Bubba Sparks, Colt Ford, people like that who are still around, who are pioneers in the game. There's a lot of other country artists today that do country rap and stuff. And I think that what I'm trying to do is just be able to toe that line of being like, all right, well, it is country, but it is pop, but maybe he's like rapping and it's just good, and just kind of bring me to it, you know? Like I'm not trying to be the first. I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm just trying to maybe push it a little farther, I think. And it's interesting because my biggest inspiration in music is Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
And you might be like, wait, what? But I look at him and it's really the storytelling. And that's really during my time transitioning into the David Morris music, the storytelling is incredible. And that's what people want, right? They want to be told a story, or they want to be part of a story. And so Bruce Springsteen is 70, 71 years old now, still killing it, still touring, still doing albums. And if you're hip to Bruce Springsteen, he's done rock, R&B, country, soul, folk, even some jazziness. Like
so we just got to be a rapper now, and that's it.
Exactly.
Maybe dabble with EDM a little bit.
If Bruce Springsteen came up in our generation right now, he would rap, because he always just did what he wanted to do. And so, you know, we could sit here and talk for a long time for Bruce Springsteen, but there are country Bruce Springsteen songs that are more country sounding. There's rock and roll. And it's just, it entices me. I'm like, man, like he's still around, and it's because he's just doing him. He's not paying too much attention to like, oh, you're this type of artist, you got to do this, you know?
Not
like,
pigeonholing himself.
Same thing with Bob Dylan, you know, folk, electric, gospel, country. I mean, he's done it all too. And it's just like these guys who I look up to, I notice that they just do whatever they want, man, and just make good music, you know, and try to tell their story and try to tell a story that people can relate to. And that's what it's about. And it's like people spend too much time getting hung up on the labels and the genres. Like, dude, is it good?
Yeah, it's all that matters.
It's like, is it good? It's all that matters.
Did you do a lot of touring?
I did. I don't want to say, maybe not a lot. Probably like, probably done like 100 shows. 100,
wow.
I mean, we did like probably three DY tours, and
Wow.
then the last one was like 2014, I think, and then I started releasing David Moore stuff, maybe like 2016, I think, and then from then it was. Before it was like, I'm going to tour, I'm going to do whatever, whenever I can, I'm going to be on the road. I perform for 2 people, I perform for 200, 2,000. And then it got to a point where, all right, I'm going to rebrand, I'm going to release this music. And now it's very important to just build that fan base again and build the organic growth. And so now we were like, yeah, beginning of 2020, guys, fall 2020, we're going on tour. And then COVID, you know? And so it was great. We didn't have anything set up or announced yet. We had just started to kind of mark the calendar off. And so now we're focusing again on getting back on the road now that there's a bunch of music out, you know.
What's the biggest and the smallest show that you've ever done?
Okay, so the biggest was, okay, so 2 answers to that. One, the actual biggest that I did and performed a set at was our guy Sean, who's in the studio here, with my guy DJ E-Train. We were in Cincinnati, and they have this company called Self Diploma that did the summer concert series, and it was like 7,000 people, and I headlined, and it was free, public, in the park. It's like
that's a lot of
people. It was a lot of people, and it was free, public, in the park, and I had done it the year before, and it was like one of the openers, and was just building, and we did it, and yeah, it was. I think it was. I would say 7,000 people, I think, is the number that I remember us talking about. But I have a photo I'll show you later that's really cool.
Wow.
Of my DJ crowd surfing. And my DJ and I both crowd surfing. And it was just a lot of fun. And it was cool because it was like, you know, even though it was a free event or whatever, it was like, dude, I can't tell you how many fans I made that night. People were just like, yo, man,
it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, it was great. And then the smallest show, and I think Futuristic was there. We were in like Nebraska or like South Dakota, and we had routed a tour through there, and we just would try to get a show set up. There were 2 fans. There's probably 6 people in this bar, but like 2 people who came out to watch us. Literally 2 fans, and they drove like an hour from Illinois, Nebraska. And the coolest thing about it, they came. We performed like there was 20,000 people there. Like, I was gonna put in a great performance, and after we spent like 3-4 hours just hanging out, chilling with these dudes.
Dude,
lifelong
that is
fans.
so sick.
And,
you probably remember them by name.
One of I'm really bad with names, but one
I
of
am
them,
too. I'm
one
horrible.
of them just messaged me on TikTok or Instagram the other day and commented and was like, "Hey, come back to Nebraska. I'll make sure there's more than 2 people there this time."
Wow.
But it was cool because it was like, hey, like, that's the thing is like, it's not about, it's like people, so many artists, it's about ego. It's about how many people. It's like, dude, like, okay, you woke up this morning, you're getting paid to do what you love, what you would do for free. You're making other people happy with your music. You have people that want to listen to you.
Especially that's such an intimate experience.
Yeah.
Guaranteed that's it's going to go down as one of like the best nights of their lives probably.
For sure. And it's a memorable night for us, even though because of the smallest show. But if you can get on stage and put on a performance and get past there's only 2 people here.
Yeah.
Oh man, this sucks. It's like, if you get past that and you can put on a show, it's like, you know, you're doing the right thing for the right reason, because that doesn't matter.
Right.
Right? Like,
I love
you
that.
were making YouTube videos and getting 100 views at one point, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
Less than that.
Did you keep making them?
I shot my pants when I woke up to 600 views.
Did you keep
on a
making them
video.
after that, or did you quit
Absolutely.
because there was
Dude, 100 views. I thought that was a lot.
the statistic and probability of us having the opportunity that we have is like, and back to Bruce Springsteen, he says in an interview, he's like, okay, if you took the amount of people that come from where I come from, he's from New Jersey, but even just in general, people that like music and would like to be an artist, and then you dwindle that down to take time to learn to play the guitar, take time to write songs, take time to get decent at singing the songs, take time to get decent at performing, actually get a gig, actually get to perform, actually make money, actually get a record. Like, you dwindle it down, it's like such a small percentile. So it's moments like that where you're like, if 2 people here, it's like, hey, I'm here, man. You're here, I'm here, let's have a great time. Us being here is just like the universe telling us that we're in the right place anyways.
I performed once.
It's so important. Hold up. Excuse me? You mean like rap or like performed like comedy or something?
Rap.
I can see you stand up comedy, but I don't know about are Big Dog's a rapper?
You don't know about Ernie, bro?
I do know about Ernie. I do know about Ernie. I remember seeing this.
Yeah, so actually, it's funny.
I remember this is. Are we talking the nerd raps?
Yep. Well, today's the 22nd. It's funny. So 2 days ago on 4/20 it was 6 years since my album dropped. I did a full album.
Uh-huh.
I was number 6 on iTunes or
love
something
it.
crazy, top 10 on
Which
iTunes.
is crazy in itself.
Yeah, and this is back when, God, I don't even know. I probably just barely had 1 million subscribers. And
Barely had 1 million. Barely had 1 million. Barely.
yeah, small time, right?
Yeah.
But I remember because one of the biggest goals I had was in my life is I always wanted to make an album. The reason why I moved here to Arizona, so my plan was to be a rapper.
Oh, I never knew that.
Started rapping when I was like 10 years old. In high school, when I finally had a little bit of money from working, I got a microphone and interface. I would read full on books on Pro Tools and producing. I got an internship at Tech 9 Studio in Kansas City, which I had to pay for.
Crazy.
I had to pay. My mom let me
sounds
borrow.
like a whole other story.
Yeah, my mom let me borrow $500 to do an internship at Tech 9 Studio. Never even saw them, but it was Tech 9 Studio. It was cool.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Great.
So I sucked. I was horrible at making music. I've always been really good at freestyling though, but I don't have like a great voice for music. I didn't have a whole lot of rhythm. I had, more rhythm than most of my other, white friends, but that's not saying much. But anyways, I actually moved here to go to the Conservatory of Recording Arts and Sciences, CRAS. So my plan was, I was going to continue to try to make music, but since I knew I didn't have a great voice, my fallback was, I'm going to learn how to produce and start a record label and this and that. So I came out here with my buddy Chris. He ended up going to CRAS. I ended up not being able to afford it. It was like a trade school. So 9 months, $18,000, which...
Wow.
back then, at least, I couldn't even imagine having more than, a couple $1,000s. I'm like, there's no way I can get $18,000.
You're like, no way.
I come from a decently well-off family, so I wasn't able to, what do you call it? I applied for financial aid. I wasn't able to receive
Qualify,
it.
Yeah.
So they couldn't qualify me for financial aid, so I couldn't get it, I couldn't get student loans or any of that stuff. I didn't have credit, so I was like, all right, well, still want to go to Arizona. Was able to end up just going to Mesa Community College.
Yeah.
It was, like $1,000 a semester. So I did that while my friend went to CRAS.
Yeah.
So through that, I was like, maybe this is meant to be, but maybe it's not what I'm supposed to do. And I started really focusing on YouTube and just went down that path and ended up here. But I always wanted to do music.
But here's the thing is you got to where you are now because your plan A was music and you just followed that.
Yeah. Exactly.
Even though you failed at it, no, but but seriously,
it just sounded
but
funny.
think about it. But
even though you suck.
No, I didn't say. You said you did. But it's like, but that's the thing is, your plan A was like, I'm gonna make music. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna work on my own, work for myself, create my own stuff, and that took you to where you are now, which is cool. And that's
and YouTube
thing.
was a plan A at the same time. It was like.
Yeah. Exactly.
Two paths.
You had the foresight for YouTube as well?
I did.
Oh,
yep.
sick.
I wanted to do pranks and music at the same time.
Amazing.
There was a guy, I can't remember his name, but there's a guy I used to watch that did pranks and music. And he had like 300,000 subscribers. And I was like, this guy's already doing it. I can't do it now.
Yeah.
I was like, back then I was like crushed by it. I was like, oh, he's doing it. I can't do it now.
Yeah.
But anyways, so I performed. Long story short, I did do an album. Recorded all of my nerd
what was
character.
That called? Can we plug that real quick?
Ernie's Journey.
Ernie's Journey. Okay.
Ernie's Journey.
People need to know that.
It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. I have about 5 music videos on YouTube.
Amazing.
I think 2 or 3 of them are on my main channel, Big DOS TV, and then about 3 are on Big DOS Vlogs channel. But yeah, dude, it was a blast. I plugged it through my Nerd Raps freestyles. I didn't even do a great job of promoting it.
Yeah.
But it was a passion project. I went into it, and at the time, I didn't have a lot of money, but the little savings that I had about 20 grand. I was like, I'm going to put this all into the album. I'm going to invest 20 grand in it. My biggest goal is, even though I'm going to spend 6 months making this thing, my biggest goal is to just break back even.
Yeah.
And I broke back even.
I love it.
Didn't even really make a ton of money on it. I ended up getting like a brand deal, which, put me in the green a little bit, but I wasn't worried about making money. I just wanted to do it.
Do you have it, like, are you going to bring Ernie back for another album, or is it kind of like,
So right now
someday?
there's something that we're working on. I haven't made a video as Ernie in, I think, 2 or 3 years. I still get messages every day.
And that was the Nerd Raps video that you did as well, right?
Yeah, that was the character Ernie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I still get messages every day like, yo, where's Ernie? What happened to Ernie? When is he going to come back? So we have a plan
Okay.
where something happened to Ernie, actually,
Oh, man.
a couple of years ago.
Oh, man.
He had a big incident, a run-in with some bad people, and he's been missing ever since. The people, they haven't gotten the full story.
Okay.
So there's gonna be a little docu-series, and
Maybe he got caught up with the Bolivian drug lord and the cartel and is in a prison in South America. I'm
not gonna say that's not the truth. I'm not gonna, we'll just leave it at that.
We're praying for Ernie.
Yeah.
We're
So
hoping.
Ernie, is he dead? Is he alive? We'll find out.
don't know.
And we'll find out this year.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it now. I'm gonna go back and watch the videos because I saw that was one of the intros to you was those videos with Zach, the Nerd Raps videos, and then the prank that you and Jake did with the pants down. Or like you go to work, forgot your pants.
Yep.
And yeah, man, it's cool, and it's cool that you can branch out and do stuff like that and have fun with it.
Yeah.
People love it because people love you and are invested in your brand, and so I have no doubt that if you wanted to like make music as Dolls, that
I could do it.
you could do it. Yeah.
I did one recently. I'll have to show you.
Okay, yeah.
I did making a music video with a stranger in 24 hours.
I saw that.
And I rapped as myself
Yeah, I saw that.
for the first time on YouTube.
Okay,
You might not have seen the music video
didn't see the
because
music video. I saw the lead up
video
to it.
was like 30 minutes long.
Okay, so I didn't see that. I saw that
Yeah,
you dropped it.
I'll have to show
I
you.
saw what you put on like your Instagram and TikTok
Uh-huh.
where you're like, we're grabbing a stranger and we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And I never saw like the final
Oh,
version.
it's great.
So I'm gonna have
You got to check it out. But anyways, I did one show.
Okay, one show.
It was Futuristic was doing his big, and this is shortly after we did the Nerd Raps that really blew up. And the cool thing about Zach is, he's, at such a high level of success. But it's kind of like what you were saying about Mac Miller, how he always thanks you for letting you like stay at his place. Whenever I see Zach or whenever we're doing anything publicly, he's always thanking me for, the video that we did together that really boosted his career. And it's like, his career would have boosted, one way or the other, no matter what. It really didn't have anything to do with me. It was kind of one of those right time, right place sort of deals, but he always thanks me for it.
100%.
And, that always means a lot to me. And so he was performing, we sold out 3,000 people at a show in Scottsdale, and he let me open for him.
I love it.
And me and my buddy Chris, who I moved out here with to do music stuff, like it was just a dream come true, and we did it. I performed, it was either 3 or 4 songs. We rode out on scooters, on Razor scooters. The beat dropped, we rolled out, flipped our scooters, and just started rapping. We killed it. Everything, like I was shitting my pants.
So wait, did you do that like before Oliver Tree did the scooter stuff?
I know who Oliver Tree is, but I did not even know who he was at that time. So yes, this was like 2016.
I mean, I love Oliver Tree, but I mean, if you were scootering doing that stuff then, I'm just saying, Ernie might be a trendsetter.
Maybe. So
But-
yeah, man, it was crazy. I mean, just the energy you could feel, once you get on stage,
Oh, it's great.
3,000 people just, giving you the best energy, and you're just letting everything out.
Yeah.
It was probably one of the best nights of my life, and I'll never forget it.
Well, I'm going to pitch you an idea. Maybe this is in the works, but I could see, and I know it wouldn't have the same charm, but a Man Cave Dawes podcast tour on the road.
That would be sick.
Because I feel like I'm a big fan of a lot of true crime stuff like Crime Junkie. Shout out my guy Payne Lindsay, who does Up and Vanished. He has Tenderfoot TV. Dead and Gone, Up and Vanished. What's the other one? He has a bunch of podcasts, but he's my guy. And they do tour, and they'll like literally hop on the road. And this was before COVID, and I think they're getting ready to do it again. But tour dates,
Really?
sell tickets, and come. And it's just
And
like,
just like this?
It's just like this. And so
Wow.
like for them, it would be discussing like whatever case they're talking about or whatever story, and they're recording the podcast live. So it might be cool, to do that. With
I like that.
maybe a different city, maybe depending on what city you're in, a guest that fits the city,
Hometown hero.
hometown hero. Yeah. Whoever is from the city. Yeah. I think that'd be cool. And it's just a conversation, and everybody talks, and then there's a Q&A section for the fans. I think that could be really cool and interactive. And, maybe Ernie can make an appearance.
Hey man, All I'm saying is there could be an album coming soon. Yeah.
Are you gonna Beyonce and
Dude.
just drop it out of nowhere? Just
Potentially.
Beyonce it?
Potentially.
Oh my god.
I've had this idea for a long time since I have so many characters and I do rap with different characters.
Yeah.
So like I do like I haven't done it a lot on my channel, but I have like a redneck rap character.
Yeah.
I have a gangster rap character. I have the nerd rap character.
Yeah.
I have myself. I was thinking about doing an album with all of the characters called Personality Disorder.
I like it.
Yeah, it'd
I
be
like
fun.
it. That's fun.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, man. I think you can do it.
Yeah, why not, right?
Well, I
Because
mean-
I would love to go on tour. Like that's another bucket list thing.
Imagine doing that and like doing it. Maybe you do podcast to start with and the concert to end it, or maybe it's just a tour, but you like maybe halfway through or after a couple of times you do a costume change and you just go back and you just have the DJ play and you go back and change into Ernie and change out of Ernie into this character. Yeah, that could be cool, man.
Yeah. Speaking of bucket list goals, top 3.
Top 3 bucket list goals. Wow. I want to buy some land.
Buy some land somewhere.
Buy some land somewhere, probably outside of Nashville, and have like a compound, have a house, have a separate studio house or a separate building studio, separate building that's a gym, have a guest house, and have a compound to where I can, chill, have a farm and some land somewhere.
Have a horse and a Harley.
Yeah, probably. I don't know, but I mean, I love horses. They're a lot of maintenance, so I don't know about them. But my girl will definitely.
You gotta have
definitely
full time.
My girl will want
or
some horses
somebody
for sure.
full time. I would love to have horses.
I would love it. So that's
Oh, man.
that's definitely bucket list. Number 2 bucket list is I want to do world tour. So
Okay.
I haven't done any touring internationally. So that's a big thing.
Have you been out of the country much?
I've not much. I've been out of the country years back. We went to like a trip Paris,
Okay.
London, Italy. But like I want to like do like a tour, world tour. I think that'd be really cool. Number 2 bucket list. And then number 3 bucket list. Let's see. I think it would be cool to own my own tour bus. Not just have a tour bus, but own it and be able to maybe rent it out on the side.
Yeah,
and
like a
stuff.
souped up RV.
Right. And I know you're thinking, you're like, Dave, like, I mean, like, dude, do you want to win a Grammy? You want to have millions of dollars? Like, no. Like those things, try to think, like all that stuff would be great. Like if you're like bucket list, I want to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Back to what we talked about earlier, right? What do you really need? What's going to make you the happiest? And what's going to be something that like is going to make the 17-year-old me happy?
Yeah.
And that would be like, dude, if I could have like my own crib and do all that stuff and like amazing, beautiful views of the mountains, love it. If I could go on a world tour, like teenage David would be like, dude, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like you're
Isn't
selling
that-
out shows in like Europe and
Right?
Asia, like wherever, like that'd be so cool. And then it'd be cool to be touring enough to be able to invest in other businesses like buying a tour bus and renting it out and buying other properties and stuff like that. So, you think about it, I feel like a lot of times too, like to circle back to our earlier conversation, people put so much pressure on themselves. Like, man, I gotta win a Grammy. I gotta be millions and millions of dollars. It's like, nah, dude. It's like
That's the worst way to
worst.
go about it.
The older you get, right? If I ask you now, you're married, beautiful family, young ones, one on the way. If I ask you now, like what your goals are, they're going to be much different than they were 5 years ago. You're like, I want to hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I want a YouTube plaque. Like I want to
That's
do
all I
this.
wanted, yeah.
I want to do this. I want to buy and as you continue to grow, you achieve something and you mark it off the bucket list. And then there are more things that pop up, right? But if your goal is to just make $1 billion or just I just want to be famous, it's like you're never going to get there. That's like,
Yeah.
it's a non-starter. So that's kind of where it's at, man. So yeah, I think those are the goals that are achievable in the near future, man.
I think it's funny when you said teenage David.
Yeah.
Like, think about your younger self, or if I think about my younger self, if you're able to fast forward to now, you're just like, holy shit, there's no way that I did all that.
It's crazy because there are moments when you feel like I have no idea what
You don't
I'm
even
doing.
think about it. You wake up and you're like, oh, fuck, I got to do this today.
Yeah, and you feel like, you wake up and maybe you feel lost, or maybe you feel like it's not going to work out, or maybe you feel like, you're trying hard and it's going nowhere and you're treading water. But it's a game of inches, right? It's like slowly but surely. And I forget who it was, but somebody, an OG, told me, they said, hey, this industry, this life, this world, whatever you're doing, think about like you're moving a refrigerator, right? You can't just like, I mean, it's going to be hard to pick it up and move it. If you push it, it's going to scratch the ground. It's going to, it's like really obnoxiously, it's hard to do. With something like that, you have to teeter it back and forth, scoot it, game it inches. That's what it is, right? It's like, instead of having that goal that's like super big, it's like, yeah, in the back of your mind, have those things, but the bucket list and the goal should consist of things that go from small to like, I can achieve this. I think with a little work, I can achieve this. I think with a year or two's work, I think with this, boom, boom, boom. And it keeps growing, right? Because if you have these big goals and then you reach them, like, I'm not satisfied. Oh man, I got here and I don't like it. But if you're always looking for growth, if you always are checking out the bucket list and something else is revealing itself and adding something to it, you're never going to get burnout. You're never going to get tired of it. You're always going to have that same mentality, that same hunger. And that's what it's about, man. It doesn't matter if you have 10,000 subscribers or 10 million subscribers. It's like, do you love what you do? Are you going to keep doing it tomorrow, even if a setback occurs? And once you get to the next level, where are you going from there? And that's what's important, man.
I think everything that you just said needs to be my alarm clock in the morning,
right.
whenever I wake up.
That's the next thing we'll do.
I love it.
We'll do inspirational quotes for people.
People need it, man. People need it. I need it.
Look, man, I need it too. I think that another thing that I like to think about is like, it's all about perspective, right? It's all about how you view the world. Because it's like, it's so easy to just like hate life or hate what you're doing or hate shit. And it's all about, the only thing you're in control of is how you react to stuff. And it's like, my girlfriend and I have conversations all the time. Like, she'll be upset about something and I'll just real quick, I'll be like, all right, let's fix the problem, or let's move on. Let's figure it out. Like, can we control it? Yes. Okay, cool. Then let's fix it. Let's work it out. Do we not have control? Is it out of our control? All right, cool. Let's move on. Like, we can't do anything. No reason to like spend time on that stuff. And so if you have the perspective of looking at things like half glass full, it always works better, man. And that's why I'm like, all right, man, like I haven't achieved this yet, but I'm going to. I haven't done this yet, but I'm working on it. And just slowly but surely, you get people in your corner, you get more inspired and more excited. And then eventually, man, you're on Big Dolls Podcast. You know what I'm saying?
and then that's all you ever got to do again.
Yeah, now I gotta check this off the bucket list. I'll put some more stuff on the bucket list, but
Yeah, just a few things.
Just a few things.
The last thing I want to say is those shoes.
Yeah, man, had to do it.
Those are, I mean,
had to do
I'm
it
so happy you wore those.
I had to. I was telling you about them.
Yeah, where do you get those?
You don't. These are vintage. These are dead stock vintage from the 80s. This is like I brought out some OG Jordan 1s, Chicago bred 1989s on you. Like these
I feel threatened.
They stopped making these in like the early 90s. And I was lucky enough to get my hands on a pair. So
prime condition too.
Prime condition.
And my dogs are stepping on them as you're walking in.
I mean, look, man, it's cool. But that's the things, look, man, we live once, right? You gotta wear them, right?
Yeah,
you gotta enjoy them.
You got to.
And but I had to, because I was telling you about them, so I had to bust them out for you.
As soon as I saw him, like, yes, he did it.
But I like
he
them
did
because
it.
it describes me. It describes my music. It's like
It's
like
the crossbreed we were talking
and
about.
Rap and
Yeah.
crossbreed, and it's like, hey man, like describe your music, and it's just like, boom, this is me.
That's amazing.
And so that's where we're at, man.
Where can the people find you, bro?
People can find me. It's just at David Morris on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook,
YouTube,
Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. Yeah, I mean specifically YouTube, right?
Links in the description. Subscribe,
Links
show
in the
some
description.
love.
My album Red, White, and American Blues came out in November, and now I'm starting to release music videos for that and other content around that. And then now we're rolling out the next album, which we're hoping to have out, obviously, definitely sometime this year, but we're dropping 2 singles this month and just keeping it moving, man, and just enjoying making music and hoping to get back on the road now that everything's opening back up, so we're excited. So, yeah, man, I'm one of those dudes who tries to respond back to comments, and people DM me on Instagram and Facebook and stuff, so I'm one of those guys, if you reach out and are like, man, saw you on Dolls Podcast, I'm going to be like, dude, thanks. Appreciate it. Like, that's great.
Awesome,
and that's
man.
what I think I see you do too. Interact with your fans and try to do stuff to where at the end of the day, you're like, dude, I'm just a dude. Like, thank you for supporting me. Like, I think it's so cool that people pay attention, whether it's 2 people in Nebraska or 2 million people on your channel. It's like, again, I'm blessed to be able to do we're blessed to be able to do what we do, man.
Yeah,
So.
I agree with that, man. Well,
Yes, sir.
thanks for coming on. Make
Yeah,
sure you
man.
guys check out the Man Cave podcast. I'm going to put a channel in the description or a link in the description as well. We got a short channel where we're doing a bunch of short clips. Make sure you guys check that out. We're also now on Audible, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, all the streaming platforms. Make sure you guys subscribe. And David, thank you for coming out, man.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it.
And I'm highly anticipating the return of Ernie.
The return of Ernie.
The return of Ernie.
All right. Peace out, guys.